Okay, in these last minutes of Asor B'Teves, the yortzeit of my Rebbe, third yortzeit of my Rebbe, Moshe Shapira, Zecher Tzai Kosh Uvracha. So we will give a session of Kuzari, Yilili Nishmaso, Yilili Nishmas Harav Moshe, Ben Harav Yitzchak Meir, Schuso Yogin Aleinu Ba'al Kol Yisrael. Like I said in my presentation today, in my very first transformative encounter with him, which was my first encounter with him also, all my encounters were transformative. You know, he quoted to me from a little known poem of Rav Yehuda HaLevi, the author of the Kuzari, saying that, stick with Torah and not with the Greek stuff, the Greek philosophy, the Greek culture. Prachim below perot. It's all flowers but no fruit, meaning it's all nice, but it's not real. That's what this whole book is about. That the king was of Kajar was having a recurrent dream. It says your intentions are nice, but not your deeds. Meaning there's an objective truth. There's an objective truth. It's not just all by what's nice and the spirit and the intention. There's an objective, solid truth that gives solid results. And the king, as the storyline goes, he's after he tried to be even better and even better at the Kashar religion. Still, he kept on having the dream, and therefore he took it as a sign that he's got to look at other religions. But before going to any religion, he went to a philosopher. And the Rav Yehuda HaLevi now is going to give us a crash course, a very rough synopsis, little smorgasbord of greatest hits of Greek philosophy. Not everything over here is from one philosopher. It's like the greatest, for lack of a better word, greatest hits of what the philosophers in general held, more or less. So he's interviewing the philosopher, and he wants to know, tell me about your philosophy, and right. So it says the Amar philosopher. So the philosopher tells the king, right? We, the philosophers, believe that God doesn't want anything. There's nothing that he wants. It's nothing that he hates. God himself is above, intending or wanting anything. החפצו יגיע לשלמות וכל לא יבוא זה החיסרון בעינו עומד. Right, because wanting something shows that the wanter, he who wants it, is missing it, and he needs it, and as if only when he gets this thing that he desires will he attain perfection, right? And until he has it, he's not perfect, so it means he is lacking, right? So God can't want anything because he's perfect. Because if you want something, that's a sign of imperfection. It's as if he needs that thing, right? Not complete, not happy without it. Okay, so God clearly can't want anything from you because he lacks nothing. That's what's on God also, according to the philosophers. Yeah, so the stress over here in this text is only according to philosophers because we, the Jewish people, do not agree with this point, right? Nor does any religion agree with them. Most religions do not agree with this point that he's about to make, right? That God is beyond knowing details, right? Now he doesn't know details. Because the details are constantly changing. Maybe certain general principles remain the same, but the details, right? So there's always, let's say, I'll give a crude example. There is a concept called the human race that will probably endure forever. We believe that. Question is how many people will there be, and who will be the people at any given time? That's always changing. That's in flux. Right? So the general principles are all. The generalities are stable and unchanging, but the details do. And God is unchanging, so to them they couldn't reconcile. An unchanging God should have changing knowledge of knowing how a detail here shifted in favor of another detail. So according to them, according to the philosophers, right, God is, since he's too big and too perfect and too unchanging to get involved with the little details that are constantly changing. Right, because the details change from moment to moment, and God's knowledge has to be perfect. Perfect is unchanging, so so he can't. So we must say that he doesn't know the details, and again, he's going to make it very clear that they had a way of like talking as if that's not a shortcoming because he's lofty. Why should he care about it, right? So it's like so not knowing the details is not called any shortcoming according to them and their way of thinking because anyway, the details aren't important. Right? So God's knowledge is a perfect, unchanging knowledge, and He doesn't get involved with the little changing details. But what comes down is like this: what comes down according to the way we think. God does not know you. If He doesn't know you, because you, John, you particular person, King, you're a particular person, a detail that changes. X amount of years ago, you weren't born yet. X amount of years from now, you'll be dead, you'll be gone. You're one of those changing details that God doesn't get involved with, right? Too big, too lofty, he remains unchanging, and you're from these changing things, right? Um, so he doesn't know you, and if he doesn't know you, he certainly doesn't know what you're thinking and what you're doing. And if he doesn't know you, doesn't know what you're doing, doesn't know what you're thinking, he certainly is not listening to your prayers, right? He doesn't see your movements. Now, if you will hear philosophers say God is the creator and he created everything. Right now, when they say God is the creator of all, they mean that in a borrowed way. Right, because what they mean to say is like God is the first cause, right? He is this is again the philosophers talking. God is the very, very first cause, and He created a second cause, and that second cause created a third cause, which created a fourth cause, and that's how down the chain, man emerged. So God is the first, the first cause. So in that manner, God created man, but not directly, not direct, and not on purpose. The only thing that God created, direct, was the first, was the thing that came after it. This again, the philosophy. It's not Judaism. It's not Judaism, right? All right, we're also going to let me just say to be clear, even though we do believe God is perfect and needs nothing, but we will explain how nonetheless he could project the will and demand the Torah, not because he needs it, but because he wants us to have it good. So it's a projected will, not reflective of a need, as we will explain later in the book, as explained throughout Jewish philosophy. But it's the philosopher talking, so don't get mixed up, okay? So about God, he only created the thing that's directly beneath him, and by chain reaction, mankind arose, but God did not create man directly, and so he doesn't know man. Well, overall, and so now, he's doubling down on this. Man, God never created man. Kiolam kadmon, right? Right. So God never created specific personage, because the world was always here, according to them. But even though God is the first cause, right? But their thinking is like this: God is unchanging, correct? He's unchanging, correct? Right? And so that means he always was the creator. Right? So God is eternal, and he's also unchanging. So he's unchanging means he always was a creator. Son change to become a creator. Right? We said before, God has no needs. So he's not so like I gotta go get that world. Right? So we have to explain exactly how Judaism deals with these arguments. And that's later in the book. We will deal with it. So their argument was God, he created just the thing that was outside, but he always created that thing right outside of it. Because God is unchanging, right? perfect, unchanging, so and eternal. So that means he always was. It means that the world was always here. Because if God was always here, then the thing that God creates was also always here, coexistent with God in the sense that God is unchanged. God always was, and God doesn't change. So that means God always was the creator. So it was always this thing that he created outside of himself, which by chain, and that thing by chain reaction, but that chain reaction goes infinitely into the past. So that means, that chain is infinitely old, right? And that means there always were people, right? That's what it means, because that chain did not start at a particular point in time. They say that chain of existence is only X amount of years old. God always was. So the thing that he created outside himself always was, and hence that thing that sets the whole chain of existence in motion, the way they understand it, always was there, right? Timeless. So that means there always were people. Man was always born from the man that came before him. Now, man has shapes and characteristics and chemical balances and character traits that he gets from his father, from his mother, and from his other relatives. I guess it means over here, other relatives means, grandparents and great grandparents, I'm guessing. What else could it mean? But aside from that, he also gets certain qualities from the climate that he lives in, the country he was born in. So, Bamazosmai, be it, the food that grows there or the water there. And also he gets certain qualities because of the influence of the stars, right? The stars that he was born under, the stars as they appear at the time of his life, uh, over the place that he lives, right? The philosophers believe that. They may not have believed in astrology, in the, predict the future, stargazing in that way, but they did definitely believe that they have influence upon us. They bring energies, just like the sun brings sunlight, which gives us light and heat. They believe all the stars bring down energies that affect us. It's energies, right? And by the way, Judaism, believes something similar, not the same way they say it, but the stars they're not just there to look pretty. They give energy. They do give energy, right? That's what he's saying. So the person's characteristics come from his genetics. They come from his climate that he lives in, and the food that he eats, right? And the stars that that he's under, be it during the time of his life, and also their position relative to, like we said, the place they lived. Now, of course, everything traces back to the first cause, is what they mean by God, right? But not that is that God intended this whole chain to emerge. Right? It's just something that just happened, like as it were, by emanation. Like dominoes, one emanation, one creation causing another creation, which caused another creation, which caused another creation. Now, because the first cause created, emanated a second cause. And the second cause emanated third and fourth causes. And by that manner, it was necessarily emerged all the causes and all the effects, and that is the chain reaction of how they emerge. They are as you see them, and all that had to unfold like the falling of dominoes, except that this, as it were, falling of dominoes always was, because it starts from a first cause who always was the first cause and always was. Right? How are we doing for time? We'll do another paragraph. Now every creature of the world has causes that bring it to perfection. There's a thing, and then there's things that will cause you to be perfected, to be optimal. Right? Right. So a person who has all these causes will be perfect, and someone who does not have all of them will remain deficient, undeveloped, unperfected. I'm not going to translate this fully. Again, it was the perception of the times. Okay. Ben Kush, someone from Kush, the Marshal, for example, those people of Kush. Lois Piccolo, so a person from Kush. Lois Piccolo, right? Take him. Then on the one hand, his his natural natural properties, the way that nature prepared him and equipped him, was only sufficient to have a human form. But and he speaks, like the human, but a garbled speech. The connect, but as opposed to him, a philosopher. There's the philosopher. There's like especially rings repugnant right after Hanukkah, where we were in open warfare against the Greek superiority complex, right? Which included they thought the philosopher was like a higher, not just someone who took philosophy classes. For them, the philosopher was a higher type of human being, as we're about to read. So he is the opposite of the Ben Kush, the Kushite, the person from Kush. Right. The philosopher has these characteristics based on them. He has all the, not just all the good qualities of chemical balance, but also all good ethical qualities and all good intellectual properties and good. He also does good deeds. Right, perfect human being. Right? That's what it shows. He is not missing anything from perfection. But even the philosopher, he's not just born that way. He's only born with the potential, being from the Greek race and living in a great place like Athens. So he's only born that only gives him potential for his tremendous perfection. But chance doesn't apply, but to bring his potential to actual, he has to learn and he has to train. Until he fully reveals all his hidden talents and all his hidden properties, that they should come out, be it for perfection, be it that they should emerge, but they'll emerge deficiently, or all the levels in the middle. All right, we're going to stop here because this gets a little bit more complex. Right, now I know we didn't really learn the Torah's position, but this is a part of a book that leads into. It's like today. It's like we read the Kasha of the Gemara, but we didn't get to the Torah. But of course, since this is all leading up to why this is wrong and why Judaism is the right way, so it is called that we learn Torah because it's part of the text and it's leading up. It's like we learned the Kashas. We didn't get to the Terutzim, and it should all be nishmas Mori for Rabbi or Moshe ben Rav Yitzchak Meir. That was a luminary in opening up these type of forum to us in our generation. Zchusa yagen aleinu v'al kol Yisrael.